turn that on.
Sorry about that. Lance, can we do that again?
Sure.
My apologies.
Yeah, no problem. Here.
I guess you have to say the date and all that stuff again.
Oh, you want to start over completely?
Yeah.
Very good, then. I call this meeting to order, regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission on Wednesday, January 19th at 6 p.m. Would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Lance Shaw,
Here.
Chuck Romberger,
Here.
Lori Riley, Jared Peterson,
Here.
Jeannie Reddy.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no problem. You just have to note that the meeting started at 6:02.
Got it.
That's when we recorded. Okay, item number 2, petitions from the public. Do we have any petitions from the public on this case?
Not that I've received.
Okay, thank you. There appearing to be no petitions from the public. I will move on to item number 3, approval of the minutes, the regular meeting on December 15th of 2021. Do the commissioners have any updates, complaints, adjustments, clarifications, or any issues with the minutes? Commissioner Riley, Commissioner Peterson.
Nope, look fine to me.
Okay, good. Commissioner Reddy?
Yeah.
Mr. Romberger?
Looks good to me.
Okay. I just want everybody to make sure that we had our opportunity to adjust the minutes. Okay. Everyone being happy with the minutes, I will move that we approve the minutes of December 15th, 2021.
I'm going to abstain since I was absent at the last meeting.
Oh, very good. Thank you. Do I have a second?
Second.
And I will call the question. All in favor of approving the minutes, say aye.
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 And we'll let the record show we have one abstention.
I have it.
Motion carries. Okay. New business. Preliminary and final site plan review for public restrooms, item number 4. This looks like a courtesy only, since the town doesn't have to really come to the board for approval of their construction projects on town property. But I appreciate the heads up and have looked at the pictures. It all looks nice. I see this is listed as discussion possible action. Do we have, let's see, do we have a resolution to go with this? Any comments from the commissioners?
I just have a question, and it's not gonna change anything. Was it ever considered being put closer to the park and the lower couple of parking spots instead of up on the main road?
Yes, but access to utilities caused us to cost prohibitive to put it anywhere else. Originally trying to put it about 14 years ago in the corner of the middle parking lot. But that was paid for by ADOT when they originally bid that project out. It was pretty substantial. It came out to be $500,000, and there was quite a bit of utility work required. This location allows us to get to the sewer, the water, and the electricity without having to put additional services in.
Okay. I figured there was a reason like that.
I have a question. I'm curious to know, I don't know if it's because of like handicap, but if there would be possible, because it's 10 by 10 is pretty large, and it'd like to have 3 bathrooms instead of 2, but I don't know. There's probably a handicap code and all that for size, but it seems like a lot of kind of empty space.
It's not a real big building. If you look at it's designed for handicap layouts, and you have to have requirement to get the wheelchair in. And then we also, in the site plan, because of the grade there on First, added a parking spot that won't be a permanent parking spot. That will be for use of the public restrooms only parking spot, which allows not to go to extreme lengths in building rampage, that would be cost prohibitive as well. So we're trying to build this basically very minimalistic and something that will be functional, and it will look newer but fit in. And you know, I don't want to say as cheap as possible, but that's what we're trying to do.
Oh, cost effective is the word.
Okay,
Mhm.
trying to be cost effective.
Yeah, Commissioner Peterson, if you look at page number 12 of your packet,
Mm-hmm.
it shows the ADA requirements, and there's a big dotted circle in the one picture of the floor plan. That circle between the sink and the stool is the ADA wheelchair maneuver space.
Okay,
And that's what makes the room have a big open space in it.
okay. Yeah, because I kind of took a tape measure and thought, well,
That's
seems
a-
huge. It's like you know, my dorm room was 10 by 12, so it's
Yeah, I
like,
know, that's
people are inside.
that's bigger than
I
my
thought maybe we
bathroom.
could have 3 as opposed to just 2, you know, so people, yeah, so.
Okay. Okay. Any other comments or questions from the commissioners? Rosa, I see this is agendized as discussion / possible action, and possible action usually means a resolution and a motion and so forth. Since this is a courtesy only and I don't see a resolution attached to it, I will assume that item 4 should say just discussion and not have possible action, i.e. not requiring a motion from the commission.
I think we would like an informal motion, just showing that, you know, P and Z approves, but
As
Chair-
presented.
Vice Chair Romberger also has I think a comment or question before we move on to that.
Oh, okay.
It would be a separate issue, but since we'd be losing 2 parking spots, that there might be consideration of putting 2 parking spots in elsewhere to make up for the 2 lost ones.
Well, we're going to try to improve that whole area along First Street. Right now, it's a hodgepodge, really, if you look at it, it's kind of broke up ground. So our ultimate goal is to also pave that and add some parking. We should be able to come up with 1 or 2 there. But remember, we also, where this building is going to fit is currently where the dumpsters and recycle bins. So it's not technically using up any parking there. Our plan is to move the dumpsters up to just above it on Main Street, which would cause us to lose this parking spot there. But for the convenience of access to the dumpsters and ease of access to the dumpsters of our garbage truck, it's better, when I spoke to Public Works, that we move the dumpsters up. There's really a challenge to try to get the truck and that uneven First Avenue backed up to the dumpsters. It takes its toll on equipment and the dumpsters themselves. So this will solve a couple problems. We may still ultimately lose a parking spot, but if we lay it out right, we might gain one once we improve that dirt, mangled up, broken concrete area.
Sounds good. And besides, Alan, the police department has like 6 spaces right there in front of the police station. You probably give up one of those, huh?
There's 4. And they busy weekend, we hardly fit what we need to there when people come to work and try to find a place to park.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding. I've seen it full before, but yeah, enough squad cars to park in there.
Well, we already had, can we add storage space to the restrooms? And we're trying to keep them as small, the person who cleans the restrooms, but we have space across the street where we keep the old fire truck to keep and store toilet paper and cleaning supplies and stuff like that. So we have space in the hall to do. So we've been challenged along the way several times already.
All right. Okay, sounds good. Any other questions, comments? Okay, well, in deference to Rosa, I'll make a motion if we approve this courtesy site plan review for the town for the public restrooms. Can I have a second, please?
Second,
Oh, okay.
Okay, all in favor of the restrooms, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, no complaints. Very good,
Great.
thank you.
Thank you, Alan.
Yep, thank you very much. You have a great evening.
You
Okay.
too.
Okay, thanks.
Good night, everybody.
Okay, item number 5. Preliminary final site plan review for home improvements at 804 Hampshire Avenue. Okay, let me scroll to the right place in my enormous packet here.
Mr. Lopez is here to make comments, introduce the project and answer questions.
I'm here.
Okay, thank you. Do you have anything to add, Mr. Lopez, that we don't already have in the packet, or anything you want to emphasize or make sure we notice?
No, I try to be as transparent as possible with what I want to do with it, but not really, not other than what
Okay.
is there.
Okay, no, sounds good. Thank you. I must commend you on a impressive looking package with complete drawings and all kinds of nifty software to make pretty pictures. Even I can figure out what it means.
Nice.
So, do we have any questions from the commissioners? Any issues, complaints?
I have a question. Well, the type is so small and I went on the computer and I can't enlarge, but was there like a soil report done? Is for where the footings go to make sure that's like on like a hard surface?
Surface? No, I didn't pull a soil report there, no.
Okay. I didn't know if there was one required, or I was curious about that, if that was required to make sure that it's not gonna just sink down into the ground.
I wouldn't think so, but if it's required, I don't mind getting one, but I figured
No,
after 107 years with no foundation, I couldn't imagine it being worse.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, Commissioner Peterson, of soils wouldn't be necessarily required by ordinance, but the building inspector might ask for one if he was sketchy about it when they do a plan review. In this case, it looks like the building is going to meet the original footprint. And as the applicant points out, sometimes if the house has been there for 50 years or more, it's a pretty good indication that the soil is okay and it'll stay up. But as you point out, it's a good question. I mean, the decks do add several piers, so there could be some concern that the deck would fall off, I suppose. But usually the applicant is motivated to make it good enough so the deck doesn't sink into the
But
ground.
that's not required for that, so is
Yeah.
that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, and that's the other thing I noticed about this plan. It's pretty easy for us as on planning and zoning to review it. Of course, design review has their issues about finish and appearance and roofing materials and so on and so forth. But for us, it's all in the original footprint. Setbacks, if they were met, they still apply. The envelope is the same; it doesn't get any taller. The parking doesn't change, things like that. So it's not a lot for us to.
So it's
get-
more design review for with all the other parts.
Yeah, as a
window.
matter of fact, I think we did this one out of order. Rosa, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It went to design review first, when usually it goes to P&Z first and then design review. But that's,
Yes.
yeah, that's right. It's noted in the agenda, yeah.
And you would have seen this project on the December agenda, but after reading more closely in the ordinance, I realized I had to post a notice on the property. So we had to allow the time for that. So that's why it's on tonight's agenda.
Yeah, okay. No, so I remember talking about that in an email. Okay, sounds good. I mean, I'm inclined to approve this as submitted. Are there any other issues from the commissioners, concerns or questions or?
No, I'm glad to see that this house is going to be fixed and look nice and be saved. That's because I knew it was in bad shape.
Yeah, I mean, it's being rehabilitated, basically. It's not going to change its appearance significantly, and the fenestration and all that kind of stuff. And it was in a condition where it was is, you know, on a long downhill slide. So it's good to save. I agree. Okay, well, see, since I made the last two motions, anyone else want to make a motion? I hate to make all the motions. So.
I'll move that we approve the preliminary site plan review, P and Z Resolution 2022-01.
Okay, great, thank you. Is there a second, please?
I'll second it.
Okay, having a motion in a second, I will call the question. All in favor of approving Resolution 2022-01, say aye.
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 Those opposed? Okay, we're good. No
Chair
complaints.
Shaw,
Yes,
may I just clarify, because Commissioner Reddy said preliminary review, can we consider this the final site plan review as well?
oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, perhaps Commissioner, let's just say.
Yeah, I apologize. I should have read the full title, I suppose.
Okay, so will
Yeah,
you?
It is a resolution, so I mean,
Yeah, the resolution 2022-01
Yeah, so
should have been the motion. Yeah.
if you will amend your motion to include the final phrasing.
okay, thank you.
Okay, very good. And the second will be also amended to include the final.
Yes.
Okay, so our vote can hold and our resolutions are all consistent with the title of the item.
Okay,
Thank you.
great. Congratulations, Mr. Lopez.
Thank you. Thank all of you. All
Good
right.
luck, good luck with all that.
Yeah, I'm excited to see it happening.
Yeah, thank you. And I'll get to work.
All right. Well, I'm gonna leave the meeting. I'll see you guys around. Thank you much.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Okay, item number 6, preliminary and final site plan review for a new single-family home in the zone R15 on 776 East Avenue. So, any setup here, Rosa, or?
Sure, just to remind you that DRB did also see this, I guess, out of order, and has approved the visual compatibility of the project.
Okay, yeah, good. Thank you for the reminder. I missed that one in the minutes. Okay. So any questions or confusion from the commissioners?
I have a question. So I saw the letter from Rusty, and so it's 5 feet off on the back in a certain area, that it's like 15 instead of 20 setback. So would this have to go to a Board of Adjustment first before we?
That's a good question, Commissioner Peterson, and I saw the same note, and I figured if somebody else didn't bring it up, I would. It looks like, I mean, I'm not sure that it's too close, but it looks like it is. The site plan review didn't have a super detailed and precise measurement. It was just a matter of laying down a ruler and kind of scaling it out. And that's the only thing I could find wrong with the quote unquote wrong. This is a possibility that we have a deck that overhangs into the setback. And of course, with the recommendation of and professional opinion of Rusty, and the fact that it faces a fairly wide highway easement, I don't see a problem with the deviation, but it's not really in the purview of planning and zoning to grant a deviation. So what I would think, I looked at the resolution says, assumes basically that the setbacks are right, and maybe they are, and the sketch is just out of scale or whatever. But I would entertain a motion with a provision that says, you know, I don't think it needs to come back to P&Z again, but we need to get satisfactory resolution. I think you're right to point out, we need satisfactory resolution on whether or not we have adequate setback in the back, and whether or not they can alter the deck perhaps, or get a Board of Adjustment waiver. You know, either approach is fine. But I could see making that amendment to the resolution when we pass it here. That way they can fix the deck and not come back to see us again. However they want to do it. I'd be inclined to grant a variation, but that's not our purview to do. And of course, it's also not our purview to look at an obvious problem and overlook it.
Yeah, to keep everything on the up and up, with, you know, if
Yeah,
if
exactly.
that to go and have that done.
Exactly. So my thinking is that we would probably add a caveat to the resolution and say, make sure we get the deck situation solved one way or another.
Chair Shaw,
Uh,
the applicant is here, Cynthia Barber's here, and maybe she could speak to that after having discussed it with Chief Blair and see what he discussed with her about the setback. I too discussed it with him, and he felt that because of the property being abutted up against the Douglas Road easement,
Yeah.
that it wouldn't affect his ability to fight fire there, which is what the setback is important for, at least in his perspective.
Sure, I understand. I mean, Rusty he's not going to climb that hill with a fire hose either.
No. So anyway, just a suggestion to maybe talk to Sid and see what her information is from Rusty as well.
Oh, sure, that's a good idea. Ms. Barber, do you have any comments to add?
I do. So, the back portion of that property is terraced, and there's 100-year-old rock wall and a portion of an old foundation of the building that was there at one point. In order to not put our porch right on the rock wall, we're gonna put it down on the terrace. I've already talked to a structural engineer who said that it's structurally sound to do that. So essentially, we can't move the porch back because there's a rock wall that's there and an old concrete foundation.
Oh, okay, so you're going to use the existing foundation and rock wall as a pier for that corner of the deck?
No, we have to go past it because it's a concrete pier or foundation from an old building that was there, and then there's a rock wall that comes all the way across the Douglas side of the property. It's about a 5.5-foot rock wall, which if you were to climb halfway down the hill and measure from the property corner, that rock wall is pretty much exactly on 20 feet. So in order to not mess with that 100-year-old rock wall, we were going to put the posts for the porch a foot over the rock wall on the terrace down below.
Okay, I see. So basically,
Yeah.
so there's a component of historic preservation here.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay.
Correct. Yeah.
And yeah, my issue was just have it all, you know, taken care of if it's not quite the right amount, to have the Board of Adjustment say, okay, and then from there, just so that everything's, you know, taken care of. It's not that you'd have to change anything, but you have to have them say, you know, yes to that, so.
Right, and Alexander House is right up against that property line on that side. And then there's a shed on the other side of us that's within 10 feet of the property line.
So the neighbors aren't on the right setback either, so it's not like you'll stick out like a sore thumb, huh?
Yeah, the Alexander House has no 20, doesn't have a setback on the back side.
Yeah, okay. So it doesn't
Yeah,
seem to me like we'll have an issue with the Board of Adjustment granting the variance, I would think.
Yeah, no, with the history of the street and everything, I think it'll go without a problem.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Are there any other questions, issues, concerns?
I have one, and it's just me feeling like it's a big project, and I just I actually talked with Candace earlier about this, about having a code enforcer just looking over everything to just make sure, just because it's just a huge project, and just making sure, everything's looked at. But that's just my thing, and that's my concern, just because there's a lot of issues, and to look at, make sure everything's, being taken care of.
Yeah, you mean like a planning and zoning administrator?
Yeah, well, maybe like a temporary, like, it's just because it's so large, and, I don't want to just kind of overlook, so that's the thing. That's just, I guess, in the sense of maybe tabling it, having that, like, someone officially looking over, so everything's like kind of gone through, and make sure everything's how it should be.
Isn't the building, doesn't Barry have to do inspections as it goes along anyway?
Well, they had mentioned if we didn't get a planning and zoning, that we were gonna possibly get a code enforcer. So that just could kind of go through stuff and make sure. So that's just my concern about, because it's quite a large project, and I don't know a lot about this stuff. I'm trying to read and follow, and just looking at the site, I don't have the experience to, so I was just throwing that out there of, like, possibly having a temporary, like, just to go over and make sure everything's in order.
Since Robert isn't here anymore, is there anybody on deck that might be a new zoning administrator anytime in the next few months?
We have received a couple of applications, but yeah, so that's in the works.
Oh, great. Let's make this packet part of the interview. We'll send it to him and see what he says.
What will you do in this situation?
Yeah, there you go, exactly. No, Commissioner Peterson, I understand your concerns. I mean, we're kind of, I wouldn't say we're completely groping around, but we are keenly missing our zoning administrator. The usual review practice, I mean, of course, we do what the zoning administrator would usually do. Our commission does, right? Usually he or she will bring a packet to us that says, yes, I've checked it and it meets setback, it has the heights okay, and so on and so forth, parking and so forth. And that's the kind of thing that we look at too, right? But then there's always the building administrator will do a plan review, and there's where they look for engineering stamps on retaining walls, and is there an adequate footing under this column, and will it fall down, and is there a soils report? And actually, in this particular packet, I would point out that this is the most thorough soils report I have ever seen in any packet in the last 10 years, and myself, any one of us commissioners, and myself included, I'd be surprised if we could figure out half of that soils report anyway, because we don't usually look at soils reports. So no shame in not being able to figure out what you were looking at. Well, that's a pretty decent soil report. There's a lot here. Anyway, I didn't do that much of my house. But in this case, I'd be inclined to do what we have been doing, as far as the zoning administrator's review is the hope that what we do as a commission and how close we look at the plans will be sufficient, and there will still be a building inspector to look at it and make sure that it doesn't fall down. But like I say, we usually do what the building inspector does, make sure it meets ordinance, right? The building inspector only cares if it stays up, right? He's not as concerned as if it's too tall or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know, I'm prepared to move ahead with it. I'd hate to table it when I think it's really something that we can just approve. And I think our risk of going astray is small. I'm not sure. What do you other commissioners think? Are we?
Well,
I know we're stepping a little bit out of our comfort zone without our zoning administrator, but I don't think we're going down the wrong path here.
thought this was pretty, pretty complete. And I don't see a problem with it.
Okay, thank
I
you.
don't think tabling is a good idea.
No.
I agree. I think we should move forward. I think in the realm of what our role is in this project as it relates to the zoning ordinance. I mean, I don't see any reason to table it.
Okay, thank you.
I mean, it looks good to me, and I just thought, just out of the fact that I'm not willing to just have buildings go up that aren't really completely looked at to make sure everything's, following everything. And as far as to know where the property line is and all that, I mean, I'm not, I don't have a site scope and stuff to know, exactly, but it just made me feel a little more comfortable if we had somebody that actually could just scan and say, okay, and, but that's my concern. So, yeah.
If Chair Shaw, if I could add something here.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, where'd you go?
Okay.
I fold my laptop cover down, changed the keyboard on it, so the cat wouldn't walk across my keyboard.
Ah,
Where'd you go?
So I've been working closely with Sid on this to make sure that she had everything that she needed to present to not only P and Z, but DRB as well. And I had the concern also about the setback not meeting the ordinance, the 20-foot setback.
Yeah.
And strongly suggested that we talk to Chief Blair because he's the one who's mostly concerned about setbacks and fire safety and all that. And that's the reason we talked to him, and he didn't, I mean, because of the property and the way it slopes and that it abuts to Douglas, he didn't think that was an issue. And I asked him if he thought it should go to BOA, and I know that Rusty isn't, the final answer, but he didn't seem concerned. And so I think that's what the Board of Adjustment would want to know, is that the fire chief was okay with this not, meeting the setback, the 20-foot, and instead it's 15 feet. So just to throw that in there.
Yeah, okay, no, thank you. I think that was a good call. And I respect Russ's opinion on that. And I think we're right. I mean, the Board of Adjustment, I would speculate that they won't have any trouble with it.
But I understand, Jara, I also understand your concern of wanting to do, what you would do with any new project. And, so it's, I respect whatever you guys decide, obviously.
Okay, yeah, and this is the sort of thing, I'm not sure if a zoning administrator, if we had one, would make a administrative approval of a minor deviation to the setback. I think it's the sort of thing that would end up at the Board of Adjustment anyway. I would think. I don't really see a way to get around it.
well, if we do approve, it would be in the fact that as long as it goes to Board of Adjustment and they approve it, or how would we do that?
Yeah, that's the way we would do it. It would say we conditionally approve it based upon satisfactory resolution of the setback issue on the deck by the Board of Adjustment.
I mean, it does look like a very complete packet and all that. And I guess I just feel like, I don't build houses from the ground up. So it's just like, I'm looking at everything I can, but it's like,
I understand. No, it's good. And that's fine. That's what we're supposed to do. We're not supposed to just rubber stamp everything and toss
Yeah.
it to the person. We're supposed to think about it and look at it and see what we think about it. So it's nothing wrong.
yeah, it looked like they covered a lot of stuff, and I have to tell you, initially, it looks good. So, but yeah, that was just me being like trying to, it just sounded like a good idea when if we don't get a planning and zoning person to have a code enforcer that kind of looks over stuff and then lets us know this or that. So that's maybe down the road, you know.
I hope it's coming soon.
Me too.
Yeah, I do feel a little bit like we're kind of walking on a tightrope without a zoning administrator. So it's a position we need filled. Anyway, anybody else have any ideas they want to toss out for this one before we construct a motion and go with it? Any of the commissioners have any further comments? Okay, I will make a motion that we approve resolution 2022-02 contingent upon satisfactory resolution of the possible violation of the rear setback of the deck, either by revision of the deck to make it smaller or whichever, or a satisfactory resolution with the Board of Adjustment or the council. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, with a motion and a second, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye.
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 Those opposed? No opposed? We talked you into it, Commissioner Peterson? It's like.
Well, it looks good, and I guess I'm on the ship with us all, we're all there. So if we're gonna go down, we're all going down.
Okay, no, it's okay if you want to paddle off in your own rowboat. That's all right. Okay.
You.
Let's move ahead to item number. It says item number 6 on my agenda.
Yeah, I guess I was a little tired when I was putting this agenda together, so
That's okay.
the numbering's a little off. I apologize.
It must be item 7. We'll just pretend it is.
Yes,
Yeah.
item
Um,
7.
yeah, a conditional
Yeah.
use
Well,
permit.
the address also is wrong, right?
There's
Okay, what?
all kinds of stuff wrong with this agenda.
Yeah, and the address yeah, we're gonna approve this temporary shipping container down on East Avenue.
Yeah, I was looking and I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah,
That-
Steve's gonna be building Sid's house, so that's why he needs the shipping.
That's why I was
container.
like, those pictures don't add up right.
Exactly. Okay, that's okay.
Sorry.
As long as we get it
Now
all,
that confused me too.
as long as we get it clear with the commissioners and get it documented properly and get it recorded on the recording properly, it'll all come out in the end.
Thank you, Chair Shaw.
We can work with it, right? This shipping container is at the Walsh residence on Clark Street, right? Okay. Do we have any issues, questions about the temporary building? Usually we don't do a conditional use permit for a temporary construction shed. That's kind of a new thought. But that's okay. It affords us the review, a 6-month review, and the ability to revoke the permit. And also, I noticed in the resolution that Rosa had added the statement that said that we can't grant a occupation of the property until the storage units were moved.
Mhm.
So we get some control over the situation there. So anyway, what else do we have to do about this, Rosa?
Well, we've got Steve Knowlton and Nancy Robinson here. Maybe they could just talk about what their plans are for the shipping container. And I can tell you that it will also need to go before DRB. So
Okay,
when I first talked to Steve about it, he was very willing to do whatever, well, not whatever, but, just comply with what DRB would like and what P&Z would like for this to work out. And one thing he's prepared to do is, I guess, camouflage or blend in the shipping container so it's not a major visual incompatible thing up
Yeah.
on Clark
right.
Street.
Okay. Yeah, no
I-
problem. I mean, like he's gonna paint paradise trees on the side of it, so
Yeah.
you can't see it.
So
Okay. Well, does the applicant have any input, anything to add that's to emphasize it's in the packet, or something that's not in the packet you need to tell us, or give us a
I
quiz?
think-
Give us a quiz, make sure we read the packet?
Right. Well, I think that essentially, we started out with a 20-foot, I was originally thinking of a 20-foot storage unit, Connex. But I'm now thinking that what we're shooting for is something smaller that's about the size of a shed. It's about 14 feet, 6 inches long. It's basically a box off the back of a truck. Ultimately, you won't see it at all from Clark Street because it's set on the lower terrace. Behind that, what appears to be a stone wall, which is not really a stone wall, it's just storage of stone, but it'll be behind that and lower, so you won't really see anything, whether it was 20 feet or 14 feet from Clark Street. You may possibly see a little bit of the roof from High Street, in front of Hill Street, from maybe in front of the surgeon's house. But we've talked with her and she didn't seem to have a problem with it at all. The only place that it really will be seen at all will be from Main Street. The box is the one that I'm looking at now, again, is 14.6 in length. So it's a lot smaller, and it's real nice condition. So it's just basically white. And it's essentially, you're gonna see the side of a white shed. That's basically it.
Yeah, okay, thanks. I saw the pictures, looked like it fell off the back of a truck.
It is.
Yeah.
I have a question. So it's pretty flat, right, where it's setting? Because
Yes, it is.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say if you had to build like a foundation or something, but no.
No, there's no foundation necessary because again, it's a temporary structure, and I talked with Barry in length, and actually thought Barry's suggestion was really good, being a temporary structure. Before we would be granted a certificate of occupancy on the entire building, we'd have to move the storage unit. And again, with the plans, if any of you have seen the overall plan, the grand plan, so to speak, that storage unit has to be moved anyway because it's in the way of the next phase, being the parking lot and the addition and so on and so forth.
Yeah, okay, thanks. Yeah, where it sits, that storage, temporary storage would be in the courtyard of the apartments, basically, right? I mean, it's be like, or inside.
Actually ends up being underneath the, partly underneath the parking structure.
The parking structure, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be on the level, if you look at one of the pictures that has Laura Williams Art Park in it, you see these white sticks, those are actually white boards sticking up. It's going to be on that level, which is, if anyone's been in the building before, it's opposite of where Les used to enter his apartment. So it's on the middle terrace. Because you have Clark Street, then the next terrace down is Gabe's bricked part, which is where that huge storage of stone wall is. Then you go down the next flight of stairs, and it's that level that the proposed temporary storage is going to be.
So you won't see it from Clark Street because it's covered, but
Okay,
you will see it from Main Street.
Yeah.
okay, because I was thinking it was gonna be on this side towards Clark Street, but it's gonna be on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay,
And D&O Crane has been here to look at it because there's a power line. And so he's looked at it. So just for you to know that he does all of our crane work.
Yeah, sounds fun. Are you gonna have him swing it down from Clark Street?
Yeah.
Yes.
How long do you think this is going to take once you get the storage container there and get to working? Like, how long do you anticipate the length of the stay for the storage container will be?
That's a good question, but it's a hard question to answer because basically Nancy and I are the only ones working on the project. Occasionally we get a little bit of help. So it's a slow process. And I would say realistically, it could be there 3 to 5 years.
Gotcha. I understand.
if you wait 5 years, you won't have to paint paradise trees on it. There'll be paradise trees around
Yeah, that's right.
it. Okay, I'd be inclined to approve this temporary storage unit. Are there any complaints from the commissioners or any more questions or anything we need to hash out or convince you of or argue our way into, or should I make a motion? What do you think?
I have one thing, like maybe we could do some artwork on this. It's gonna take 3 to 5 years.
That would be a DRB approval?
I think murals are not allowed, unfortunately.
No, they're not allowed.
Unfortunately, yeah.
3 to 5 years, yeah, it'd be nice to have a little something pretty there.
Mhm.
Okay, I will make a motion then that we approve 2022-03, the resolution for conditional use permit for a temporary shipping container at the property on Clark Street. May I have a second, please?
Second,
Thank you, Commissioner Romberger. Having a motion and a second, I will call the question. All in favor of the approval of resolution 2022-03, say aye.
Aye.
And any opposed? There appearing no opposed, the motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much.
See you at design review, Rosa.
All right, thank you. Congratulations.
Thanks.
Okay, what's next on our,
Item number 8, which isn't on the agenda, but that should be
Oh.
item number 8. Updates.
yeah, we should have a number for it that said 8 on it somewhere, right? 8 updates, yeah.
So sorry. So sorry. Okay, ready?
Ready?
Okay. So at the December, there was a special meeting, December 28th is when Bob Gould, our zoning administrator, interviewed and was hired. And a few days later realized it wasn't for him.
Okay.
Sad to say, he was seemed like a really nice guy and he was really gung ho about like helping us with the ordinance but he couldn't find a place to live long-term and for health reasons too, it was just Jerome was more than he could handle. So he decided it was best that he just resign. He
Okay.
felt really bad about it, but
Yeah, that's really too bad, but I don't want to bring somebody here and make him sick, trying to do the job. So,
yeah.
all right.
So anyway, but search is on and we do have a couple of applicants interested. So hopefully we'll find somebody soon.
Okay.
Or I'm gonna go nuts.
This is an additional piece of work for your day, I guess.
Yeah, January 3rd, DRB meeting, new windows and a new door are going in at 538 School Street. It's Janet Bustron's house. Found out at that meeting that Jim Rome was the original person that put those windows and doors in. Found pieces around town, I guess, but the whole wall is like windows and doors. So to replace them, they're gonna have to do some structural work as well. So Scott Hudson is working on that.
Okay, great.
As
That's a DRB only because they're just doing the doors and windows.
yeah. As we talked about earlier, Sid and Eric's plans were approved by DRB for their new home at 776 East Avenue.
Right.
And DRB also reviewed the design guidelines and I shared with them what you had input on and they agreed with everything that you talked about. And I still need to write up that summary for you, Lance, and I will pass it by you and Tyler as well. I'm going to combine your input from DRB and P and Z, and then that will be
Good.
presented to council.
Yeah, thank you very much. That sounds great. I noticed you had a pretty complete commentary in the minutes about what we
Yeah,
talked.
I've also had a council member say it just wasn't not really up to par for design guidelines. It just seemed kind of thrown together and not very complete. So it may go back to the drawing board to Mr. Otwell as well. We'll see what council says, but
Okay, well, they'll probably have to spend more money to improve it.
Or he's gonna have to give us more for our buck.
Maybe.
That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. We did it on a grant, so I don't know. Maybe he'll, put his hat on and work
Yeah,
on it harder.
Yeah, he said he was willing to improve on it, I guess, so
Okay,
we'll see.
all right. Yeah, I mean, I figured we got a decent value for what we had to spend. Maybe we can expect more, I don't know. But I would like to see it with lots of specific details, photographs, pictures.
Yeah, I think
details, so.
Compared to the design guidelines that were used as an example for us to look at and what he could produce, it seemed like those guidelines were much more thorough and detailed, and I don't know, from what I remember, I think it was, you saw them as well. I think
Yeah,
it
that's what I
was-
mean about some kind of specific details. So here's a picture of windows that we like, and here's a picture of architectural details and woodworking and
Yeah.
with this.
Maybe it was just thicker, and maybe that's why I thought it was better. I don't know.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know.
All right.
So
That's
moving
okay.
on-
I'm willing to work more on this, have it come back to our commission and go back and forth with council a little bit and, see what we can change and do. And I mean, I think we're all reading off the same page as it were. If, no one's gonna, be arguing and trying to go in different directions. We just want to make it as comprehensive as it can be and complete and clear and understandable and so on. So,
yeah, something a little more comprehensive.
yeah, we can work back and forth.
Okay. January 11th council meeting. The rezone at 300 Queen Street was approved. The sign ordinance, the ever-present sign ordinance was approved with a few more amendments, but it will go finally to bed. You won't see that again.
Did you, I was gonna say, how amended was it? Are we gonna see it again or not?
Oh, God, yeah, I almost had that thing
Okay.
memorized. There's was at so many meetings. The council did talk about adding regulations for short-term rentals, and those, they did pass a resolution, kind of following along with what Sedona has done with some of their, with what they've done with their ordinance. So
Okay.
that was a good step forward, I think. The Hotel Jerome windows were talked about at the council meeting. We had collected a few estimates, but they were like apples and oranges and not the same number of windows. And so we've got someone who's going to try to help us get something where the estimates can actually be compared to each other.
That sounds kind of fun. I thought they had windows in that building. Did they not do all the windows? I haven't noticed.
They're gonna do the 4 storefront windows, that they're the huge panes, and they're really old and dangerous. If somebody were to fall into one, it would just shatter everywhere. So they want to put in tempered glass for those. But then there's also the 2 big sheets of glass right above the steps that are to the right of the co-op. If you're facing it, the
Okay.
steps that go down.
Yeah.
So there's 2 windows there too that need to be, and Barry was the one who pointed that out, that they should also be
They
replaced.
should be tempered too. Those are side front windows. I mean,
Yes, on the side near the
Right,
front.
right. They're the same as the front windows
Yeah.
and display windows.
So-
on the side, yeah, okay.
Anyway,
I-
they want,
What is the actual address of the Hotel Jerome? What's the actual address?
I don't know. It's like, I don't remember, 500 Main or something like that,
Uh,
or
Yeah.
I
yeah,
don't,
it's
I don't
Main Street.
recall.
That's as close as I can come. It's Main Street. Well, look up the co-op on the internet. It'll probably pop up to their webpage or something and have the address.
yeah.
I don't know. Or if we had a zoning administrator, we could just look at one of our maps.
It's 502 Main Street.
Thank you.
That's pretty close. You're pretty close.
I was off by 2. Okay. We talked, council talked about water line improvements and hydrant installation. This was down on Dundee, also Holly, and I think North they were talking about. Anyway, they put it up for bid. All the bids came in way higher than the money we have for it. So they're gonna scale back what needs to be done, do it in chunks instead, I think. So we're gonna put it out for bid again. But I think Dundee is the priority on that. And COVID, we're sticking with the status quo. And we've actually, I don't know if you've heard, but town hall's closed again to just the public walking in. So people can come in by appointment, curbside service, gotta wear a mask. But yeah, Omicron is like very close by and going through town.
Yeah, we've been all reading the news and whatever, so I mean.
Well,
it's-
and I'm gonna vouch for that, guys. I just got over it.
Oh, okay
Yeah.
then. Well,
Glad you're
well,
better.
I hope you're feeling okay. You look great. I mean,
Well, it's been 3 weeks now, and let me tell you, I don't wish this on anybody.
okay.
No fun.
No,
Well, glad you're feeling better.
me too.
So if there's no more comment, you want me to move on to future?
You okay?
Okay, that would be item number 9.
Yeah.
And
Item number 9, potential items. So we've got, it says no items here. Do you have any, do you have a future for us?
no future for you. Sorry. Makes me think of the Sex Pistols. Yeah, so that's it on item number 9.
Okay. All right. So then we're ready for item number 10,
Wait, where are we?
adjournment. I move that we adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
I was just looking at item 5 and 6. I guess adjournment is actually 10. Okay.
That's okay. Well, see, we'll give a second to Commissioner Riley. I think she was.
Yes.
So the first and second, I'll call the question. All in favor of adjournment at 6:57 PM, say aye.
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 Okay, we're done. Thank you very much. Rosa, can I come and sign the resolutions tomorrow?
Yes, but call first.
Oh,
Oh, only because I'm gonna be the only one there.
Yeah,
And I don't always hear the door, so just give me a call first and I'll be sure I have them ready for you to sign.
okay, yeah, I mean, I can call sometime like 9:30ish, something like that. and
Perfect.
Yeah, I'm ready and I'll come down. Okay,
Thank you.
All right.
And-
Okay.
Hey, can I say thank you, Rosa, for all that you're doing?
Yes,
Oh, you're welcome.
Rosa, thank you. I know this is so much on your plate.
It's
Yeah.
it's not fun.
You're amazing, though.
We appreciate you, Rosa.
Yeah.
I appreciate you saying so.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Okay. Are we all ready to say goodnight?
Good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night, John Boy.
Good
Bye.
night, Sue Ellen.
Bye.
Leave.